Hey guys, Casual here from Casual GG. Today we're going to talk about the latest changes in the PTS server for one of the most anticipated mythics of Necrom, which is Velothi Ur-Mage Amulet. This mythic was something I was waiting for because for us casual players, this came about as the next Open Soul. So Open Soul has got a good place among the casual players now, where it is based on heavy attack builds and is doing good. A lot of my friends and so forth, who are casual players as well, they are even trying veteran contents now, which they were so afraid of before Open Soul. Velothi, on the other hand, had two different purposes from what I've been observing. One, for the casual players like us, it gives a viable two-bar build, and if we are struggling with light attack weaving, Velothi gives you that a little bit edge where the casual players can do more veteran content with this mythic in place. The second thing I observed for Velothi was it's a mythic which complements the new class Arcanis, right? The Arcanis class has a beam which bursts out damage, and the beam usage or channeling disturbs the normal light attack weaving, which is in place and is used by all the other classes primarily. Which was interesting because finally, for all of us who've been playing ESO for a long time, we had a new class with a different style in Elder Scroll, and I think that'll be exciting to attract more players to build around the Arcanis class and so forth. So we'll go through what are the changes which are currently in the PTS, which in my opinion has rendered this mythic useless. If it goes live on June with the current PTS settings for Velothi, honestly, as a casual player, I won't even be bothering to scry it because it's just not going to serve any purpose in any of my builds. But what we shall look at is what's the changes which has disturbed most of the ESO player community this week, and some suggestions on what ZOS can do to alleviate some of the concerns they have around the mythic and also make it viable. So these are the PTS changes which has been posted yesterday. So what we can see is the offensive penetration, the mythic grants now is 1650, which is something you can get from a one-piece monster set, or this is even a common line you get in many of the 5-piece sets. And the second line is we get minor force now, something most of us get it through either Open Soul or Barb Trap or channel acceleration from the Physic order. Again, something easily sourced from a skill or another mythic, which completely guts the amulet, right? If you really look at it, the only thing unique from this amulet now is it's gonna give us in a PvE scenario 15% more damage, which doesn't bring anything much to the table because your light attack and heavy attack has been reduced by 99%. Ultimately, this mythic is just gonna make your DPS worse, and that's why I don't see any reason to go and scry and use it. Anyone who has a 2-bar build is, happily can use Sea Serpent Coils, Harpooner's Kilt, and for us casual guys who like a 1-bar setup, we can just continue using Open Soul, which would just outperform this mythic. What I don't get is why the offensive penetration and the critical damage is the one which is being reduced. If there is any worry that because of this mythic, all those high performing trial groups and veteran dungeon groups just going to skyrocket their damage, these two stats are stats with caps, right? If if someone is part of an organized trial group or any of the DLC veteran dungeon groups, they already maximize the offensive penetration and the critical damage cap through many buffs and sets they have, right? The teams work in order to reach this cap so they can perform at the optimum step. So for those groups, they won't really be bothered with this mythic because they are already there. What most likely this mythic would help with these two stats is for those casual solo players or casual random dungeon queuing players, for them to be able to have bring in their own offensive penetration to the table and have a little bit more critical damage. And this is what ZOS is trying to achieve since last year. So the Mythic, before the nerf, was headed on the right direction, where more casual solo players or casual random dungeon queuing players have their damage increased, so they can do more content. So hear me out, Zos, because I'm gonna take the proposed solution in three different angles. One, this mythic moving forward should not break PvP, that's for sure. Two, the current classes which exist in ESO are already optimized, so this mythic should not go and break them as well. Three, the Arcanist class is a new interesting way of playing the game, where it's reliance on a different system compared to light attack weaving. So this mythic must be complementary. So the first recommended change is use Battle Spirit. Uh, Include a requirement that if Battle Spirit is not active, only then add the offensive penetration, increase the damage done, and give us that critical damage. This is not new either, because Rallying Cry uses the same activation criteria. The only thing is that's only active when Battle Spirit is available. They should just do a reverse of it for Velothi to say that if you don't have Battle Spirit, then the Mythic works. The next one I would suggest is on the increased damage percentage. I would assume one of the worry that Zod has is that the 15% boost put on a sorcerer or a dragon knight or even a warden could just break those classes and they'll be OP. So why don't we reduce it? Reduce it to 5%. It's an unnamed buff. So there's a lot of other name buff, and this can stack on it, and 5% would not break the other classes as well. And next we come to the Arcanist class itself. It's an exciting new way of building trucks and spending trucks. I think it's an exciting new system ZOS is introducing. Let's not leave him on the dust as well. So include a line to say that if you're using an Arcanist class ability, your damage is going to increase by 15%. And again, this is not new because Shapeshifter Change already has something similar where it impacts only the werewolf ability. So we can leverage back on the same concept and make sure the Arcanist is benefiting from this mythic as well. So Zos, if you guys are watching, don't get the Velothi Mythic before launch and just kill it. We already have hundreds of sets, monster sets and mythics in the game, which is rarely used because they have stats which just doesn't help a build. This is an important mythic on a new chapter. I for one is very excited for the Arcanist class, and I would say when you guys are launching a new mythic like this, make sure the mythic is something which is going to be in the top 10 best mythic for the next year at least. If that's not the case, we're gonna launch a Mythic which just is not being used by anyone from day one. Why bother creating the Mythic in the first place, right? So that's my update on the latest PTS changes for Velothi. Hopefully it changes before launch. Thanks for listening, gang. Please subscribe to the channel as we are new, and like the video as well. Another shout out is for ESO Hub. Thanks for all the tool tips which I took for them. I linked them up down below on the description. Till next time, I'm Casual, and GG's guys.